this is the first country that I'm going to visit. Hands down, the first country that is the best for bodybuilding or for fitness in general. Vigorous Steve here. Let's discuss the 5 best countries to live in if you're into bodybuilding. And if you don't really identify with this hardcore bodybuilding thing and you just like the health and fitness aspect of this fitness industry, I'm sure you can still take something away from this top 5 list, because ultimately we all want the same thing. We want good gyms to train in, a nice grocery store to buy food, or at least a decent meal prep service, access to all of the over-the-counter supplements that we need to stay healthy while we follow our bodybuilding or health and fitness aspirations. While we're at it and we're a little bit more advanced, maybe access to the performance-enhancing drugs side of it, right? Easy access to it, not have to jump through all kinds of loopholes to have access to PEDs. And of course, be surrounded with like-minded individuals because, well, you can do bodybuilding and health and fitness pretty much anywhere in the world. But there's a lot of places where bodybuilders tend to gravitate towards because the gyms are good and the food is good and the PEDs are good in certain areas of the world. And that's generally where you find the most bodybuilders. So let's go over this quick top 5 list. First country on the list. Unfortunately, I haven't been there yet. It's certainly on the to-do list, but at the moment, flying and international travel is a little bit difficult. So when that all clears up, this is the first country that I'm going to visit. Hands down, the first country that is the best for bodybuilding or for fitness in general is going to be the United States of America. And I'm purely making an observation here. From what it seems, when professional athletes or bodybuilders move to the United States, their career really seems to take off. Now, America, hands down, has got the best gyms, right? You got Gold's Venice. You got the powerhouse over in New York, Beth Francis Powerhouse Gym. There's a ton of different muscle factories there. And I'm sure there's a ton of different gyms as well, spread out over all cities across all states. Every time I see somebody train in a properly equipped gym, I feel need to go, right? I feel need to go train in this gym. And it seems that the best gyms are in the United States. Of course, some of the other countries on this list have proper gyms as well. But it seems that the United States has the best accessibility to properly equipped gyms pretty much nationwide. Now, most of the meal prep services are in the United States. This seems to cover most of the states as well. The United States has got over-the-counter supplement stores, whether those are online or physical stores, retail stores where you can purchase supplements over the counter. It seems to be a plenty, right? The Americans really like their supplements. Even some of the supplement companies, which are founded by Canadians, actually produce their supplements in the United States. So in that sense, it's hands down probably the easiest and the best place where you can get over-the-counter supplements. Now, regarding performance-enhancing drugs, even though there's, all the peptide websites are there, a lot of the SARM companies are there, plenty of underground sources that produce steroids in, much better carrier orals than what they do here in Asia. So regarding performance-enhancing drugs, accessibility is widespread, albeit that it's not legal. So again, it's a little bit of a legal loophole that you might have to jump through if you're going to stay there for a long period of time, and at least make sure you have a script from a renowned anti-aging or testosterone replacement therapy clinic. So at least from the legal side, you can get a script for some of the compounds that we tend to use in bodybuilding or fitness in general. And then when it comes to all the self-prescribed medication, well, it seems that accessibility isn't really an issue. You just have to be resourceful and dive into the proton meals, the hush meals, or the counter meals, and learn how Bitcoin or Monero works. And at least if you have a credit card, you'll be able to purchase over-the-counter supplements from the many online supplement stores that seem to be located and shipped from the United States. Now, of course, there's a lot of like-minded individuals that tend to gravitate to Los Angeles, for example, or New York. And I'm sure somewhere right in between both cities on both coasts, there's plenty of places where bodybuilders and people in the fitness industry gravitate to. So wherever you decide to live, like Florida, I believe, is getting increasingly popular, as well as Las Vegas, for example. That would be my first choice to go to, right? If I were to go to the United States for an Olympia, hopefully next year, I would go to Las Vegas. It seems to be the coolest place to visit if you're into bodybuilding, right? Meal prep services are there. Plenty of gyms to choose from. I'm sure I'd be able to hook myself up with a PED or 3 upon arrival. I would not fly into the United States with performance-enhancing drugs because, again, well, you have to pass customs. It's a little bit wishy-washy situation. So I would arrive without anything in my suitcase, and then upon arrival, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem sourcing whatever I would need. Now, regarding the food situation in the United States, again, meal prep services aplenty. But if you decide to cook your own foods and just purely judging from all of the food documentaries that the United States produces on a yearly basis, again, being an observer, right? I haven't been to the United States myself. From the outside, it seems that you have to be a little bit selective on where you purchase your food. And some of the grocery stores that cater to general population might not have the best food quality. And it's the same situation here in Thailand. There's certain grocery stores that I avoid, and I'd rather limit myself to a grocery store that's a little bit more expensive and where they sell food that's either imported or produced for export quality. So it's distributed all over Asia and the rest of the Western world. And I'm sure it's the same in America. You really have to select where you buy your groceries because not every grocery is the same when you're comparing grocery stores. But well, to be honest, you can say pretty much the same thing for all of the countries on this list. So it's not unique to the United States or Thailand for that matter. Right? You always have to be selective on where you buy your groceries. And if you're not really sure, you just go to your nearest bodybuilder gym and you ask the biggest bodybuilder or some of the biggest bodybuilders in the gym. You just ask them casually, hey, where do you buy your groceries? Where can I find some high quality groceries? It's not slang and asking for performance enhancing drugs. You're just asking where the grocery store is. And I'm sure they will oblige you. Right? All the bodybuilders are the local trip advisors. And when you walk into a gym, many of the bodybuilders will cater to your needs as long as you ask nicely. So all things considering, I would say that the United States is hands down the best place if you're into fitness in the fitness community. Second on the list, a place that I have been myself, is Dubai. I've been to Dubai 3 times. I find Dubai to be amazing, even though it's relatively small and you find yourself indoor more than outdoor because it's so hot, especially in May. So if you're thinking about going to Dubai, I would say in November, December, January seems to be the most pleasant time to visit Dubai because you can actually go outside and not get horrendously drenched in sweat, especially if you're not used to this climate. I'm used to this climate here in Thailand, which is a lot more humid than Dubai is. But when I was in Dubai with my wife, I found myself to spend a lot of time inside because outside is generally very, very hot and, well, a little bit unpleasant, I would say. Regardless of that, the amenities in Dubai are aplenty too, right? Beautiful gyms, especially Venus One, which I haven't visited myself. I've been to Train SF. I've been to the old Venus One gym before it moved locations and 10x'd in size. So I'd like to visit that place in the near future as well. There's a ton of different gyms in Dubai. The fitness community is very, very big. And what you can see on Instagram is that so many people move to Dubai. Right? So many people move to Dubai. They're into bodybuilding or strength sports or health and fitness, right? Or they're Instagram models or they do fitness related stuff on Instagram or YouTube. They all slowly move to Dubai, right? For a multitude of reasons. Of course, the gyms are plenty, right? The food is really, really high quality. They have beautiful grocery stores, whether those are in the shopping malls or somewhere in the outer laying areas. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. I really like Dubai. The restaurants are great, right? Of course, I can't compare the restaurants of Dubai to the United States, where it seems that there's a ton of amazing restaurants as well, especially if you're into bodybuilding. But the service in Dubai is also so very, very good, right? So if you want your meals a little bit customized, they're willing to do anything, right? You can order a hamburger and manipulate it to the point that it's a pastrami sandwich. If they don't have that on the menu, you would get charged for the hamburger, of course, with a little bit of extra for all the modifications. But they're very, very lenient from my experience. Again, I've been there 3 times. So my total time in Dubai, I think, has been over 3.5 weeks, right? Every time we'd go for like 5 to 10 days, visit all the gyms, go to a decent amount of restaurants, do some proper sightseeing. I really like Dubai. And most of the gyms there, just like the gyms in Kuwait, they've got a little salad bar. So it's for the guys that are familiar with Subway, for example, where you say whatever you want in your sub. A lot of these restaurants that are within the gyms have a similar setup. So you ask, okay, I want 100 grams of rice, right, before cooking, or 300 grams of rice after cooking, 200 grams of chicken, 100 grams of beef, give me 200 grams of vegetables. They'll calculate that for you and then heat it up in the microwave. And you got your perfect macro-specific meal. It's very, very convenient. I wish I'd had that in Thailand. I mean, it was an eye-opener for me first time I went to Dubai, and you got to Train SF and have this little bar where you can just mix and match all your proteins and carbs and fats together. Great. Absolutely great. I spent so much money there on these little meal prep services there where you can just design your own meal. Very, very professional and very, very convenient, I would say. Now, regarding the fitness community, everybody that I interacted with in Dubai has been very, very kind and generous, and I was very willing to give advice on how to make your Dubai experience a lot more enjoyable. Because keep in mind, the majority of the people that you'll meet in Dubai are foreigners. I believe that of the total population of people that live in Dubai, only 8 to 9% are actually Emirati, and the rest are foreigners. And a large portion of the foreigners that live in Dubai are in the same boat as you. When you go there, they're into bodybuilding or health and fitness. They came from another place, right? They're probably on social media making a decent amount of money, allowing them to live in another country. And everybody that I've talked to there, again, very generous with their time, very helpful on how to kind of navigate through Dubai if you come there the first time, or where to train, or how to set up your visa, or how to switch your revenue streams, and have a quick conversation regarding the do's and don'ts of what you can do in Dubai. Because again, it's a little bit more restricted. In Dubai, there's certain things you shouldn't be doing, otherwise you get deported. We'll leave it up to you to do your research if you're interested in moving to Dubai for a short period of long period of time. And if you're able to abide by all the regulations, Dubai appears to be a great place to live. I had a great time in Dubai, met a lot of cool people there. I would surely like to visit there again. Number 3 on the list, Thailand. Great place. I've been here for 15, 16 years now. And my Thailand experience is so vast that I already made a video about it. You can watch that here. Top 5 reasons why people like to live in Thailand, especially bodybuilders. So watch that video. I won't waste too much time in this top 5 video. I would put Thailand 3rd on this list. Again, the gyms are plenty, albeit not as well equipped compared to the United States and Dubai or Kuwait for that matter. Again, we have the Muscle Factory in Bangkok, Muscle Factory in Pattaya, and, most of the other gyms kind of pale in comparison, but there's still plenty of gyms with decent equipment and with air conditioning or without air conditioning spread out all over the country. It is still reasonably cheap to live here in Thailand, albeit that it's getting more expensive. Again, you would have to focus on imported food over the locally produced foods. Seems to be a little bit higher quality. If you're into the health and fitness lifestyle, there's a lot to be said about Thailand. But again, I already mentioned a lot of stuff on that previous video, so give that a watch. Let's move on to country number 4, which I've also been to, but only for 7 days. And I would say Kuwait is 4th on the list if you're into bodybuilding. Now, if you're not into hardcore bodybuilding, I'm going to switch the 5th place with the 4th place. But again, if you really like your bodybuilding and you want to follow that hardcore lifestyle, Kuwait seems to be one of the best places to live. And, judging by all the Olympia competitors that move to Kuwait for their duration of the off-season or their contest prep, that pretty much solidifies it. Now, there's not so much to do in Kuwait. Again, judging from the 7 days that I was there, maybe that's also one of the reasons why a lot of competitors move to Kuwait, so they don't have any distractions. But the gyms, amazing. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of other gyms in Kuwait that are just as good, but Oxygen Gym is the most internationally known. Right? That's where all the Olympia competitors move to and then train at Oxygen Gym for the duration of their prep. So I've been to several Oxygen Gyms in Kuwait, and it's like a shopping mall. That's how big these gyms are, right? 1 floor for legs, 1 floor for chest, 1 floor for back. It's insane. It's insane. You walk into the gym, you look to your left, you don't see the end. You look to your right. I'm probably mixing that up, but right, you look both ways, and you barely see the end of the gym. These gyms are gigantic. Right? They got a lot of different amenities. You can go to the pool, you can go to the sauna, the locker rooms are gigantic. Really great places to train. And everybody there is really going for it, right? They're all full-time bodybuilders. They all love what they're doing. You have captains there to actually give you a spot. So these are employees that are also competitive bodybuilders. A large portion of them come from the Philippines. Very nice guys, speak English very well. They cater to your needs. They help you change your weight or give you a spot. Probably the best spots that I've ever had for people that I just met. And normally I would ask my wife for a spot, but unfortunately my wife is not allowed to train in Oxygen Gym. Right? One of the caveats of Kuwait is that the men train at separate gyms and the women train at separate gyms. So for me, that's a little bit of a letdown, right? The women train separately, the men train separately, even though the gyms where the men train are very fun to train at, right? Highly motivating. But a little bit of a distraction in between your sets is always appreciated. That's why Kuwait is 4th on the list and not 3rd. Because here in Thailand, right, the men and the women and everything in between all train at the same gym. Now, Kuwait, it's a little bit of a smaller country. There's not so many shopping malls, but there's a lot of restaurants that also cater to healthy food. So around most of the Oxygen gyms, there were a couple different restaurants where you were able to eat healthy food, right? With special orders if you were to modify meals made on the menu. So in that sense, Kuwait is very, very bodybuilding friendly, and most of their bigger gyms have a canteen where you can mix and match proteins together and customize your meal with a similar setup as in Dubai, where you have a little bit of a display similar to Subway and just pick and choose what you want. Very, very convenient also. Now, what Kuwait has over Dubai is that the pharmacies sell a little bit of performance-enhancing drugs. I was able to find Norditropen growth hormone and several different anabolic androgenic steroids over the counter. It's funny that most of these pharmacies were located very, very close to some of the bodybuilding gyms. From what I've was able to piece together, talking to several people in the gym, most of the underground labs that are here in Thailand are also in Kuwait as well as in Dubai. So finding pharmaceuticals seems to be not an issue in Kuwait or Dubai. But again, the legality of it is that it's technically not allowed. It seems to be not actively pursued like it is in the United States or in Sweden or Australia, for example. Right here in Thailand, it's not actively pursued. You can buy a decent selection of performance-enhancing drugs that are FDA approved over the counter in the pharmacies. In Kuwait as well, I wasn't able to find pharmacies in Dubai that sold PEDs, even though it might be a possibility. It seems that most of the PEDs are sold through the connections you make in the gym. Same setup as in Kuwait, from what I was able to piece together in that short week that I was there. But again, right, everything that you need as a bodybuilder is available in the top 4 of these countries. Now, 5th on the list was a little bit difficult to pinpoint. Again, I haven't been to both of these countries that were fighting for 5th place. And again, if you're not into hardcore bodybuilding, this 5th place country could actually move to the 4th place, and Kuwait would move down another spot. But again, this is a bodybuilding channel, so that's why Kuwait is 4th. So I'm a little bit undecided between Canada and Turkey. Now, the main appeal for Turkey is that, again, the pharmacies, right? The gyms might not be as well equipped as the gyms in Canada, and the bodybuilding might not be as popular as it seems to be in Canada. But man, it's a hard bargain, you know. The pharmaceutical Bayer Rimabolans being sold over the counter in Turkey. Well, if I have to outweigh a little bit less equipped gym or buying Bayer Rimabolan at pennies, basically, certainly a lot cheaper than we're all paying when we buy Bayer Rimabolan online. Even here in the Thai pharmacies, it's marked up substantially. It might be a worthy trade-off. Anyway, I'm going to put Canada in 5th place, right? Canada's really improving over the last couple of years. The fitness industry is really exploding there, and it seems to be matched to the United States. I put Canada 5th because it's not as developed as the United States regarding its bodybuilding scene. Right? There's still a little bit more gyms that need to open up. Now, of course, you got Pure Muscle and Fitness that is very, very well equipped and seems to be a gigantic gym as well, with now multiple locations. But from all of the other gyms that I've seen in Canada, they're not that big. I could be mistaken. Again, I haven't been to Canada myself, but I don't see these phenomenal, warehouse-style gyms besides Pure Muscle and Fitness. So there's a little bit of improvement that can be made there. And again, America, Dubai, Thailand, and Kuwait all have these gigantic warehouse gyms where you can just walk around, for hours and do 100 different workouts and never get bored cycling through the equipment. So I don't really see that in Canada yet, besides Pure Muscle and Fitness. And if you're not in Ontario, you would need to move to Ontario to train at a warehouse gym, like a proper warehouse gym. Again, from the observations that I've made about Canada. Now, the meal prep services are there, and you got a ton of proper grocery stores. It seems that Canada has very good sources, at least from what I can piece together for my clients. I coach a decent amount of people in Canada, and they've got sources aplenty, I would say that. And they might even be higher quality than some of the sources that are available in the United States. Now, again, the reason why I moved Canada to the fifth place is because it's not so easy to do blood work there. Now, again, I understand that not everybody is interested in doing blood work frequently, but my clients certainly are. In America, you can outsource your blood work, right? You go through maybe Merrick Health, for example. You can do blood work reasonably easy, or maybe some of the other blood work providers. In America, it's not really an issue. In Dubai, it's certainly not an issue to do blood work. You can do blood work basically anywhere, and they'll prescribe all of the tests that you want to do as long as you're paying. Same case here in Thailand, although some of the niche markers are not available. Again, I've called all of the private hospitals here for particular markers, like TMAO, for example, and that's unfortunately not available, right? Or if I want to check my pregnenolone or pregnenolone sulfate levels, there's only one hospital that offers it, and I don't want to make the trip for just those two markers alone, considering that I do my blood work this frequently. And in Kuwait, there was also a lot of blood work places where you could just walk in and do your blood work and get the results the same day or the next day. In Canada, that's still not as easy as it should be. Again, you need to go through your primary healthcare physician. Some of the private clinics do offer blood work, but you might need a referral. It seems a little bit more complicated, right? That's the problem with socialized healthcare. This is why none of the European countries made the top 5 lists. Because, from my experience in Holland, it was a complete nightmare to do my blood work every year. And even though now there's some private clinics where you can do your blood work and making it a little bit easier. But man, when I used to do blood work there, you basically have to get on your knees and beg your primary healthcare physician just to give you a little bit of a referral to draw some blood. That's one of the reasons why I left. And another reason why Canada is 5th on the list is because, from my observations, it gets pretty freaking cold over there. And that's the last thing you want as a bodybuilder. You go into the gym like almost frozen, and then you have to do this 30-minute warm-up, something I had to go through in Holland when it was cold, and I would train at a hardcore gym that doesn't like to heat the gym from within, right? So you would basically train in freezing weather. Some people would even open the windows to let a little bit of fresh air in, right? So it would really be -5 Celsius when you're training. And it would take forever to get you warmed up and get started for a proper set. So I'm sure it must be similar in Canada where, right, warming up takes a substantial amount of time before you feel comfortable enough to really do hardcore heavy weights. If you're on a decent amount of PEDs, that certainly speeds up the warming up process. But if that's not the case, and if you're a drug-free lifter, warming up will take hours. No, not hours, but it will take a couple extra minutes at the beginning of your workout before you feel mobile enough to really go to town. So this is my top 5. Again, America is on the to-do list. Maybe I can make a trip to Canada around that time. It seems to be still quite summer when the Olympia is taking place. The other 3 countries I've been to, in Thailand I live. And I just want to mention a couple countries, honorable mentions at the end of this video. It seems that the Philippines has a giant bodybuilder community and plenty of gyms to train at. The health and fitness lifestyle and fitness community is really, really growing in Philippines. So maybe at one point I can visit there as well. I want to give a huge shout out to Iran. I haven't been there myself, but from all of the interactions that I had with Iranians, Persians, it seems that their bodybuilding community is so supportive, so positive, so tightly knit. It seems to be the best bodybuilding community out of all the countries that I've either been to or interacted with, right? With the people that came to Thailand for the World Championships, for example, or when we would fly to the Asian Championships. Man, the team Iran, some awesome people. Absolutely. The Iranians, every time I interact with the Iranians, I had a great experience. And those guys are very supportive of their team. They really take care of each other. And I've never seen such a strong team as the Iranian team when I was backstage at the World Championships. I've talked with many Iranians myself. A lot of them speak a decent amount of English. I mean, you can just read from what we see with Hadi Choopan. When he goes back to Iran, he's welcomed as a hero. A hero. And it's the same can be said for Rami. He goes back to Egypt and he's welcomed as a hero. And in Egypt and in Iran and many of these countries that fall in this Arab area, right? They're not all Arabs, right? Iran are Persians. But in this area of the world, it seems that bodybuilding is so appreciated that you make it to the national news. And you're actually, right, considered to be a national hero. So it's really amazing to see that some of these countries give so much back to the bodybuilding community and the bodybuilding community of Iran. Yeah, I would wish that the entire bodybuilding community was like that, to be honest. I remember my first interactions with the Iranian team when I went to the World Championships in 2008 or 9. And I sat there by myself, right? Because I knew the Thai team, but they were backstage and we're all competing. So I went to sit in the audience to have a look at the show. And I sat somewhere and the team Iran was behind me, right? All the loyal supporters of Iran, some of the coaches, as well as some of the Iranians that live here in Thailand and then came to watch the show, right? So there was a huge group of Iranians. I go sit down and they're like, no, bro, your back is too big. Come sit with us, right? So that was my first interaction with the Iranians. And then after the competition, it was finished. Some of the competitors and the coaches and the supporters and myself, we all went out to eat Persian foods and ended up in some Persian restaurant in Pattaya where they rented off a separate room so we could sit on the floor. And for the guys that ever ate Persian food in a restaurant, it's, well, basically bro food, right? A lot of rice, a lot of chicken and beef and some grilled vegetables. Very, very healthy. You could consider that a healthy bro meal, but that's the native dish. So, right, my Iranian bodybuilding friends, maybe one day I can visit your country as well. That's certainly on the list. Maybe you guys can move up in this short top 5 list of countries that are suitable for bodybuilders to live in. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for the most comprehensive guides to bodybuilding pharmacology, you can find the ebooks on my website, vigoroussteve.com/shop. Personalized advice always available through consultations. You can find the rates in the consultations section. Follow me on Instagram @VigorSteve. Have a look at the link tree where everything that I'm associated with. You can find discount codes. You can go have a look at the subreddit so you can interact with some of the other loyal members of the Vigorous crew. Front double bicep for you guys. You guys know what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.